Welcome back, everybody, to the Can-Am Connection. Jody, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So, Mr. Peanut, Jay Clean, Scott, Dustin, GB, welcome to the show. Please do not forget to like and subscribe because we are your guys on the show that will tell you like it is.
We will, regardless of hurting people's feelings and the sensitivities that exist in our great sport. And that seems to be more rampant than performance enhancement.
Yes. Ryan, there's a thing out there that says timing is everything, right?
Yes, there is.
I got a call last week. Guess who was rolling through Oregon and rolling through my neck of the woods, so to speak? I'll give you three guesses. Former WAF world champion was just rolling through.
Former WAF world champion.
Yes.
How many hints do I get?
3.
Give me the second one.
Well, I mean, if I tell you any more, you'll probably guess it.
Yeah.
How about this? He's not from the United States. There.
WAF world champion, not from the United States, and
Right.
what weight class?
Got it. Supers.
Oh my God. Earl Wilson.
No.
Mike Gould.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mike Gould was rolling. I got a message, a Facebook message. Hey, this is Mike Gould. I'm just rolling by. I figured, he's on this, his truck. He's long hauling, right? And he's going through making deliveries. And I know he was coming from Boise, Idaho, coming west through Burns. He was going to roll here, through Bend, Oregon. And I was like, well, I want to make sure it wasn't some guy, some goofball trying to be somebody and I get hacked or whatever. So I called the number. Number didn't work. I was like, bro, I called the number, didn't work. So he goes, well, give me yours. So I gave him mine. He called, let alone it's that raspy voice. It's Mike Gould. I'm like, holy shit. So I got up and got my coffee. I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, well, I'm rolling through Oregon. And I thought, hey, you're in the neck of the woods. Maybe I could stop by only for a short minute. Maybe we can get together, pull for 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, let me know what's up. And he was like, well, I'll be there around, 2 o'clock, maybe 1:30. I'm like, oh, crap, I actually got to leave for work then. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I'm thinking, there's been times where, and I'll say this on the air because nobody from my job fucking watches this show. So there was times where a couple years ago, Michael Todd came to Multnomah Falls up in just outside of Portland, Oregon. I took a sick day to go up there and hang out with him and stuff. And that was pretty cool. I was that close to saying, you know what? But I had to be there because we got so many people who are no longer with us, in our job anymore because quitting or whatever. But I was like, I can't do that. Unfortunately, it's like crap. I was like, hey, Mike, when you're coming back this way, because you got to come through here to get back up there. So let me know. Maybe we can make something happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Mike often he drives truck all over North America. So
yeah.
He'll stop here once in a while as well. So, I mean, right in the middle of the pandemic, we got together and, hung out for a little bit. But you're not the only one that is called in sick for work. Man, I basically harpooned a whole career for arm wrestling at one point in my life.
Oh, my good Lord. I can't, and who knows one of these days, guys in the chat, who knows one of these days, would it be fun if I just said, fuck it. Hey, I'm going to Espey's place. I'm going to hang out with Espey, train for a weekend, eat waffles, whatever, and just hang out and, do a show. Wouldn't that be out? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome. Come on up, man.
Chocolate Thunder in studio.
Yeah, we can do it out of the cabin. It'd be fun.
All right. So we want to hit on first.
Well, we got broken arms. You put that on the list. Let's talk about that.
So this past weekend, United States Nationals, one of our 27 nationals we got here now. We're back to that
down
again.
To 27? Okay.
I mean, we're back to that. So IFA Nationals, right? That goes to
IFA
the
nationals, and then
that
the
goes to the
staff from there
IFA.
goes over and runs the one that qualifies for WAF.
Well, that was this past weekend. So you got Simon doing and it's not even unified no more. It's just United States Nationals. There's 2. Then you
Okay.
got the amateur nationals. There's 3. Then you got the PAL nationals in Las Vegas coming up. There's 4. And I thought Bill Collins named his U.S. Open. I think he might change this to U.S. Open, but that was supposed to be a national in August. That would have been 5. So I'm thinking, what the fuck? Now then, we had 2 broken arms at that event. And then we got the contraband days in Louisiana, Lake Charles. Denise and Leonard were there, and they had an arm break there. So I'm thinking, this is not good. This is not good. So we had 3 arm breaks this past weekend. And I'm really bummed because the one that happened in Louisiana, the guy that broke his arm has been in the sport all of 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Well,
Yes.
that might be one of the contributing factors.
Now,
the guy starts training at 2 weeks before an event. He probably does some damage.
well, and the thing is, though, I didn't see the break, and I hate looking at stuff like that. I mean, Denise was telling me, I was like grocery shopping with my wife, and she had called me in the parking lot. So I actually stayed in the car and talked to her for a little bit. And she had told me what was going on. I'm kind of like, damn, 2 weeks. I mean, what does that do to your psyche when that happens?
Nobody really ever thinks it's going to happen to them, but it does shake the crowd a little bit. So people are a little more careful. And if you're the person on the other side of the table, it messes you up.
And I'm fortunate, knock on wood, because I'm not a milk drinker. Never have been. I think it's just, honestly, I think drinking milk by itself is probably the grossest thing ever. That's just me, though. Now, I've had my share of cereal with milk. That's about as close as you're going to get with me. And I've been fortunate the 13 years I've been in the sport to not breaking, knock on wood again, not to have any kind of significant arm breaks or, bicep tears or anything like that. I've had shoulder surgery, but I was more to replace and get rid of calcium deposit and bone spurs. So that was nothing major, but it kept me out for, a few months. But, man, just, seeing that, I sit there and cringe. I'm thinking, all right, because now, Ryan, even you have to admit now, the way this sport's going now, we had an influx of more newer people than it was when I first got into it,
This reminds me of when the World Arm Wrestling League had those mega tournaments. And, a few thousand arm wrestlers show up in Vegas, and there's 7 broken arms. And actually, the very first match of the day, someone broke their arm. And it was an experienced arm wrestler.
Okay, so here's the comment that Ryan just put up there.
I'm going to highlight it.
Yeah, please. He says one of the breaks at Nationals was a guy who pulled a bunch in the Masters before pulling seniors. Curious if he caught some micro fractures prior. And I don't know about you guys, but the World Arm Break League. Fuck. Sorry, I got sidetracked, Mr. Peanut Man. It makes me wonder because there's a fine line between, and this goes back to Ryan's comment, where hey, I'm going to pull master's class, left and right. Then I'm going to pull open class. I mean, if you're conditioned for it, cool, no big deal. If you're not, maybe you should just worry about your class or even a regular tournament. I'm going to pull, my weight right now. I'm in the heavyweight class. Cool. If I want to pull, left and right heavies, there's 2 classes. Then what if I want to pull supers to get more experience left and right? There's 4 classes. What if I want to pull masters left and right? There's 6 classes right there. So some way, somehow, if your body's not able to do that kind of stuff, then you might be in a world of hurting coming up. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's tough to say because you don't know until you know, right? And you think you can do it, and sometimes no one ever plans to break their arm. But no. I've also seen like pros who have had, like I'll use Michael Todd, for example. When he pulled Wagner Bortolato left-handed and his elbow kind of just blew up. He had no idea that he had all those tiny fractures in his, and there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it took him a long time to heal after that. But he had just accumulated so much damage and hit that tipping point where something bad happened, and then what do? Hindsight's always 20/20, but I mean, as long as the refs are doing what they can to keep the competitors safe,
yeah,
there are some where the referee could stop the match earlier. I don't often see that. What I often see is someone is in a neutral position and their arm breaks. I've reffed one time when an arm got broken, and they were in a neutral position when it broke.
Lately, that's been the case because we all know as referees, certified referees, as you and myself, where you see some guy get into this position here, it's like going, all right, man, hey, get back up, stand up, stop the match, foul. Because as a referee, the one thing we do not want is a broken arm on us. That's like a black mark. And, lately, though, we're talking neutral position. I'm like, what the hell's going on? How'd that happen,
Yeah, it's just reading the comments here. It's hard. It's a hard thing to kind of prevent almost, because training can contribute to an injury.
Yeah.
The things you do before and leading up to the tournament might be a factor. So I think as long as we, and maybe I'll do my little IFA WAF moment here, because this is something that is kind of coming down the pipe in Canada. There's different certifications being offered.
Yeah.
And there is, we're not IFA affiliated, but we have always certified our referees through the Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation. And as I was coming up through the sport earlier in my career, it was always way harder to get a master level in the Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation than it was at the world level. And that just seemed to be the way it was. We held everyone to a higher standard.
Right.
Now we have this divide where some people don't want to go to the nationals because they want to remain affiliated with WAF, and someone has told them that if you go to our nationals, you're somehow affiliated with IFA. That's a narrative that is out of our control because someone else is putting that on us. But what it has done is it's taken some of our very best referees and caused them to kind of branch off and do their own thing. So I'll use Pat Callan, the Butcher, and Dave Hicks. Right. Dave Hicks might be one of the best referees of all time.
Who was there at nationals, by the way.
Yeah. And he is now running other clinics. So they get a certification of sorts, but it's not a CAWF certification. And I think that's kind of where that's something we need to work out. So arm sport videos, you are absolutely correct. Just more political bullshit. And Scott, we'll be talking about that at nationals. But there needs to be some changes to our clinics at nationals. And we have to have remain on the course and do exactly what we need to do to maintain the absolute highest standards. So when stuff like this does happen, we can fall back on that.
Oh, we got some good stuff, juicy stuff here in the chat. So apparently, according to Ryan, the guy at nationals was almost in a King's move type position. The comment before that was that GB does more King moving contribute to micro tear traumas.
I can give you a quick opinion on that.
Okay,
I don't think it contributes as much to a broken arm as much as it can. I have seen more ruptured biceps from King's move than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. There's a guy I know who probably just got into the sport. This is probably a year and a half for him. And I'm not going to put him out there, I went to one of his events last year, and he took a tour or paid Michael Todd a visit. And now he came, to my place not too long ago. It was to help me get ready for Arm Wars. And all of a sudden, he just comes out with this, I'm King's move. I'm like going, what the fuck? And, you can lift a lot of weights. He's a strong guy. But when your body frame is not used to that tension, because lifting weights is just point A to point B, right? Point A, point B. Point A, point B. Arm wrestling is every which way. And if your body's not ready for that every which way torque, then that's where people get in trouble. I don't think King's move is a move that we should just, jump right into for new people. That's just my opinion. Honestly, I think a king's move, things like the flop wrist, is, in my opinion, and this is just me, probably shouldn't be your go-to move, like your ace move. Maybe that's a move that, hey, break glass in case of emergency type move. You know what I mean? So, like, can I flop wrist? Yeah, but I'll never, you'll never see me in a flop wrist unless I'm in the straps. Practice is one thing, but like in the actual tournament where it counts, I'll probably do that in the strap. Now, with that being said, king's move, I don't want to, because then I feel like I have no control. I hate not having control when I'm in a match, right?
Now, gym rats used to make fun of arm wrestlers because they would always train 90 degrees and up, partial movements.
Right.
Nobody trained to be out here like this. It's the weakest possible point. And there are outliers. Like, I agree, it should never be an A move. Devin doesn't even use it as his A move. I'm sure he would. We saw it with Gennady. He did not go there.
Right.
Jerry Cataret is an outlier with a flop press. That's his number one A move. You know he's probably going there unless he's really overmatched his opponent in other areas. Those are outliers. Those should not be the go-to for anybody.
Right. And the thing is, though, is that, you hate to see that. And I hope those three gentlemen, are doing okay now. Because the reason why I get paranoid about that, because I look at it differently. Like, if you go to a tournament and that happens, and the first thing is like, fuck, are you okay? And then immediately after that, the next thing is like, okay, that guy has to work Monday morning. And then, God forbid, your boss tells you, hey, man, I need you at work. Why don't you leave that arm wrestle stuff alone? And it's like, fuck you. You don't tell me what to do, kind of stuff like that, So unless you own your own business. So, that's one of my, pet peeves, or just injuries in general. All right. If I'll go a step further. Match number 2, Monster Factory, right hand, and I'm pulling Daniel Worley, right? And my hand is basically like this. Not here, there. Put the strap on, bam, now I'm like that. And he's straight like this as an angle. I'm sitting like that. As much as I love to compete and I hate to lose, it's smarter for me, and I'm just now figuring this out. It's smarter to me to let that go. Because if I'm here, I'm trying to like fight to get that could be an injury waiting to happen, And looking back, it was probably smart that I did that, because I can live to tell another day. But, when that strap's on and he's ready to go and take you out, I'm up here trying to fight that. That's a horrible angle to be at, in my opinion. And I'm glad that, I just said, fuck it, I'm letting it go, not for the reasons of injury, but it's the fact that I felt like I wasn't even to begin with. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to be smart, let things go. If you're the guy in Louisiana who's been pulling for 2 weeks and, you don't want to lose, you want to show everybody that, hey, I like this sport and this is what I can do. And that happens. Like I said, I don't know what it does to his psyche. You know what I mean? I really don't know.
So a couple things in this comments section here. So GB just says, do a lot of short and gym movements, make your joints and ligaments and muscles more prone to injury when stretched out. Yes, that's why you should cross train a little bit and do some full range stuff. And a move,
keep going, Ryan.
Devin's king's move, a move against certain individuals. Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Well, and the thing is, though, let those guys who do that movement, let them do them thing. They've been doing that like Michael Todd's been doing that for a long time now. Jerry's been doing that move for a long time now. So it bothers me when I see new guys come in here and try to, hey, that's going to be my move because I see Michael Todd do it or I see Jerry do it. And, Phil Woody, what's the rumor about Neil beating Devin 3-0? Neil pickup versus Morozov, Rod, King of the Table 7. That was more of because they just had dark card, right? So, and that involved Devin, Mendauskis, Terrence Opperman, and then God, what's the other guy's name? I can't remember. But they just had their dark card. That's what that was about. And Neil kind of got on the after table. Let's just see what he can do. But we'll see about that.
Yeah.
What? Is it this weekend they're going to do it?
I don't know, but I saw a picture of Devin standing next to Daniel Christensen, and
yes, that's the other guy.
He that would be an interesting left-handed match. That might be the match.
Yeah, depending on how they all stacked up. Because and you know this, Ryan, you being an arm wrestler, you know how this goes. Battleground. So you get 4 guys, the winners advance, the losers advance to the B-side bracket. They take on each other. So that's pretty much how that goes. So
yeah,
there you be.
Should we get into this other news that came up, which I have yet to really find any information on, but I haven't had, hours and hours to go through stuff.
Right.
But this last chance East versus West qualifier. Chat, whatever you know about that, post it here. Jody, what do you know about it?
I know it's going to take place the same weekend, if not the same day, June 3rd in Virginia. And I got to know, because Artem's been on it, he's actually on, him and Travis Bagent. They got their show, Travis Bagent Unfiltered. Artem's put the actual brackets up there. My thing is like this, to have a last chance. And it tells me, and now after what just happened at East vs. West 7, Team West didn't do good, did they?
Outside of some shining moments of, Paul Lynn, you can say that, he represented himself well. We lost a lot, though. Overall, the match is just, if you just look at the win-loss column.
We didn't win one.
We didn't win any.
That's what I meant by that. Not that, our guys did horrible, but, I mean, you look at it and go, see, Chafee lost 3-0. RVJ lost 3-0. Borzinski lost 3-0. El Cesar lost 3-0. Doug Ehrlich lost 3-0. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then, of course, Devin, Team West, Paul Lynn, Team West gave us something. But that showing made this last chance that much more important now, because for them to have the most important thing, they're reaching out for somebody. That's the only way I can think of it. There's a certain someone or a few people that, hey, we want you to come help us represent Team West, when we go over there, because the people who wanted to do it would have done it already. That's just me, right?
Yeah, it's like they look at the field and they're not happy with who it is in there, and they want to add some more. But does that mean that these arm wrestlers need to either the day before or the day of, they need to do an entire tournament and then enter the final?
I think they got to do that. So, and that's the weird thing. I'm thinking, why would you go there for a last chance, qualified, and then do that tournament? It's almost like you're doing 2 different tournaments the same day,
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't understand, but like I said, who am I, because I'll be honest with you. I went to a qualifier and took second. So I did qualify, but I got so much going on that I won't be able to attend on June 3rd. And I got my own tournament I got to focus on. That's 3 weeks later. So
there's 2 things, right? So I don't want to spend the money to go down to Virginia to qualify for a tournament where, I may get an opportunity. And the other thing is, I don't want to end up in a position where I've done all this investment and then I get told I can't go because East versus West is loosely affiliated with WAF, and WAF will probably not let me arm wrestle there in the end.
Right. And there you go. There's always that. There's all that, the politicking aspect of it. So, and I'm like going, okay. And again, I like the way they're doing that, because it kind of reminded me of how WAL started. They had the regions, north and south, and then they had the east and west or whatever. And they all met, once you qualify, they all met in Las Vegas and things like that. So I do like how they're doing that. But again, it's just weird, because it's like, at least with the WAL, you knew there wasn't no last chance. It's like, okay, it just seems like, okay, the list they got, maybe they're not happy with. I don't know.
Man, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Like it looks like there's maybe 1 or 2 superstars in each class that will go through and just crush everybody. But they're not the guys that are going to save the West team.
Oh, we just had a bad weekend. No big deal. I don't think we should just bail on it,
No, we've had events where we've done well.
My fear, you know what my main fear is this. You get way too many people in that. Because then it's like, I hate to use you as an example, Ryan, but hey, WAL, sign a contract. You only got one goddamn match. That was it.
That's right.
Because then it's like, okay,
I didn't even get one match, Jody. I didn't even get one. The match I had with Jerry was before my contract.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah. So and COVID kind of ruined a lot of that too. But still, it's almost like you put so much pressure on yourself. And I'll be the first to admit, when I went to Manchester, right, and I did the Arm Wars, I put so much pressure on myself because for me, the narrative was, don't get me wrong, I was excited to pull some of the elite guys over there, but I put so much pressure on myself that, I do that because, hey, this might be the only opportunity I get to come out here, and same thing with the Monster Factory, hey, I appreciate Neil, James Statham, and Arm Wars. I appreciate Rebecca and Michael Todd, the Monster Factory. Those people have given me opportunities to compete on a big stage, and I appreciate that. And I did my best from what I thought training-wise, but who's to say that they'll invite me back again, So I put a lot of pressure on myself going to that, and there's no guarantees. So think about it.
Mm-hmm.
East versus West, number 1. Who was the United States puller that went there? There's a few of them that went there, and then you ain't seen them since.
Oh man, I don't even know. I mean, some guys had to get on losing streaks to get not invited back.
So Herman Stevens went there.
Yeah.
And he was going to be in Jonathan Breedo's corner. Breedo's another one. Haven't been invited back since East vs. West 1. Joshua Grant, who just won his classes this past weekend, is going back to WAF Worlds, actually was there. East vs. West number 1 in a match where it was like the Masters pullers. He won his match. Ain't seen him since. Cobra went out there. Ain't seen him since. So, I'm looking at it going, damn, there's a lot of people that actually went there, but you ain't seen them since. And so you don't want to get to a point where you get oversaturated with pullers and they want to prove themselves. I'm like, well, dude, I want to get my name out there, but I only got one thing to show for it. Ain't been back since. Matt Mask ain't been back in a while. Barbosa ain't been back for a while. I'm just being honest, Derek Smith ain't been back in a while. So you start adding more people to the fray, which is good because we want some fresh faces, but they start winning, then what? It's like, how far are you limited as far as how do you invite people back? I guess that's one of the downfalls to that. You know what I mean?
I'm sure Inga's got a system in his head for all of it, but matchmaking comes down to it. It comes down to that too. If you can't find a match where you think a guy is competitive against another guy from the East, what do you do with him? You just put him on the shelf. At least there's not a contract that locks you up.
Right.
On the flip side of that, the World Arm Wrestling League had the same 6 guys over and over again.
Right. And it was good because when they went super match format, it was different. I'm thinking, cool, that's just something we want to see. But after a while, it was the same guys over and over. It's like going, why do we have to regurgitate that?
Yeah.
It's almost like you don't give the other people an opportunity to do all that. And I hope that, history doesn't repeat itself as far as that goes. You know what I mean?
And then we have we had the King of the Table qualifier where Sabin won that overall and got that match. But will we see him again in there? I don't know.
Yeah, not that anybody should not be invited back. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when you do all that, does that mean you need to have more events? Like, okay, we'll take this group of guys. You can be East versus West 8, but then these guys are on deck. So come East versus West 9, you guys are ready to roll because you got so many people. Maybe.
There's Jay Clean. I think you might be right, Jay Clean. Like, there's some debate about who Mendogas pulled for. Just because he wore a West shirt does not make him a West competitor. Oh, there's that dog again.
Yeah, because Lithuania is not West. It's not. But yeah, it's just weird, Jay Clean says, I'd be happy never seeing Sabin again, But then again, when you beat Pablo, and at that point, Pablo is the hottest thing going right now, because even after that, Pablo had momentum going up, right? Sabin stopped him, right? And won what, 4-2? And now Sabin's like, what does Sabin do now? Because after that, what did Pablo do? He cut back down to 242, went back, claimed another Arnold Classic title, right? After that, went to the Monster Factory, beat Arden for the left hand Monster Factory Championship, and then he beat Ron Back for the right hand Monster Factory Championship. All that does is make Sabin's stock go up. Just being honest.
Benji Mac, you got to think about where Marcio's from originally before you make a comment like that.
Wait, what did I miss?
He's in the same time zone as most of us.
Who's he referring to?
Clean, thank you. He was talking about unless you move to the USA, right? Like Marcio. And he's talking about guys pulling for the West.
Well, I think even like if you got Gabriella, I think Gabrielle was West too, wasn't she? When she pulled what's her face? Yeah. So I think it's maybe a continent thing. Because think about it. West would be North America. That's us, Canada. South America, that's Brazil, right? So that means if Wagner was on there, wouldn't he be Team West? If Marcio, that's all that continent right there,
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's you want to touch on we got this thing that came up as I was watching what do they call it now? The first episode ever of Travis Bagent Unfiltered.
Episode like 30 or something. I don't know, something like that. This is the first one though.
And Travis says he's back.
He's always saying that. But you know what though?
But he said he dropped his kid off at the airport. So his goal was to basically be there all the way through his kid's career till he made it to the NFL. Then he was kind of, on his own, and Travis could focus back on himself. Mm-hmm. Well, that has now happened.
Right. Well, because before it was, and here's the thing. This is where no matter what you think about Travis, this is what you think. Awesome father, because let's be real. He put competition arm wrestling on the sideline. He still did the hosting and he still did the talk shows and seminars and stuff this entire time.
Which I will say, when he commentated East versus West, for me, it added a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many people have said, Travis, come back, Travis, come back, Travis, come back. And at one point, I would say at the time they were saying that, I would say Travis doesn't need to come back if he doesn't have to. Because look, he's done everything he needed to do. He's won a WAF World. He's won Zloty. He's won multiple, nationals. He doesn't need to come back. He's won some Arm Wars titles. Doesn't need to come back. He's done everything possible. And we're talking like when arm wrestling was a real thing. Like he won WAF and beat Lexi Vovoda to win that championship.
Yeah, that was about as legit as you can get for a WAF title.
Right.
In his non-dominant arm.
He was knocking heads with thank you. Non-dominant arm, by the way. I think Christian Beanie was the left-hand representative that year.
Yeah, we know what happened to him.
What did happen to him? There you go. Zloty, when that was a thing, the Nemiroff Cup. I mean, he's over here going toe to toe with guys like Samarenko, Pushkar, when those guys were up and comers, and Travis is down. He was in there knocking heads, winning that one. So from that standpoint, does need to win. He may come out here and there. He came out during the Moldova, beat Georgie. By the way, I think you were at that same event.
Travis was huge at that event.
Yeah.
Maybe the best shape I've ever seen him in.
Yeah. So, at that point, I was saying to people, he doesn't need to come back. If if Travis decided not to ever come back, it won't matter, because guess what? He's done what he had to do in the sport. Now he's focusing on being a father, helping his boy get to the NFL. Well, by George, he's done that. And now guess what? He's doing his thing now, going to rookie camp. Travis is like, well, guess what? He was doing this if you watch, he was doing this, and making sure that shoulder feels better. And, a motivated Travis Bagent is a dangerous Travis Bagent. I'm not talking about the one that showed up against El Cesar. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a motivated Travis is a dangerous one. And I'm telling you right now, if he got in the gym and started taking it seriously, that's just another, can you imagine the build up for one of those matches when Egan says, hey, I want you to come to East versus West, or if Core Sports wants you to come to, King of the Table. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Travis and Morozov?
I can't imagine that right now, because Travis is so far removed. But man, I would love another crack at him.
See?
Yeah.
There you go. But remember, there's certain things he won't do. So you won't see him in Arm Wars because, unless he's like, hey, you got to pay me X amount of money. Probably won't happen. So you probably won't see him there. Because with Travis, we all know money talks. So
Travis needs a match that in his mind is easier and more winnable before he gets thrown in there with Tobias or anyone like that. So we can't do what they did to Matt Mask.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot just take a guy that they have a certain perception of and start putting him against killers. They need to give him a chance to make a comeback.
No, I agree.
It's just like when they did that to Vovoda. They stuck him in there with Bresnan. They should have picked somebody just a little tier below that.
And you saw what happened with him.
Yeah.
You guys know the whole story about the film crew,
Ali's in the house.
Yes.
No, I am not, Ali. I cannot. I am going to go to Nationals, and I'm going to pull against, hopefully, Earl Wilson in the Masters for one more time for old time's sake.
When is that? Is that in July?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is that held at?
Cape Breton Island. It's in Nova Scotia, the north of Nova Scotia. So right on the East Coast.
You know what I like about you guys as Nationals?
There's only one of them?
Well, yeah, that too. But what's intriguing to me and what I like and what I'm drawn to, and I ain't dissing our Nationals because it's like, let's be real, it's not what it used to be. But what I'm digging about you guys as Nationals is that, one, triple elimination. Like if you win a national there, you've earned it because it's triple elimination. So there's one, right? And second of all, I like that each team is represented with their the team jerseys from their provincials.
Thank you, buddy. Go on.
Hey, first of all, don't crack on the Masters, man. You're talking to two guys right here. This guy and myself, okay? Don't do that. I know he's just joking, but because if I were, and this is where 2024, once I get through this calendar year, then I'm going to really shift gears and really focus on chasing that national title, chasing that WAF title. And the only way to get to that point is I got to participate in it, right? So, but I had all these other good opportunities that come my way. So, hey,
Yeah.
But next year, by the time Nationals comes next year, I'll be 48 years old, by the way, people. 48. So, okay, 48 years old. I don't know if I look 48 to y'all, but yes, by the time Nationals comes around next year, I'll be 48 years old. So, for me, I'm just being real. This has nothing to do with my lack of confidence, but I know if I want to be on the podium, then I need to do it from the master's standpoint.
Well, we're both knocking Ward Drake, being the nice guy that he is just reminding everyone that both of us are so close to grandmasters.
There it is. Guy, you know what, Ryan? Wouldn't that be funny if I just, a few years from now, grandmasters, then I finally get my world title or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I can still say, hey, I'm a world champion.
You can, yeah. Dan Woodley, you might be right, but here's the thing. There's a question came up in this chat here. Do you think Travis could have beat Dennis for that $100,000? The problem with that is you're taking an untrained Travis and trying to bring him up to a level. And then I don't know. You got a guy like Dennis who basically never dropped below a certain level. And I think there's a certain advantage to that. And it's really, really hard to play catch up. Although Devin Larratt did an amazing job of it, going from, the man at 225 pounds to what he is now in a relatively short period of time. Let's not forget that, we're talking 5-6 years ago, Devin Larratt wasn't a super heavyweight guy, and now he's that guy.
Yeah.
It would stand to reason that Travis would not defeat, with his style, a guy like Saplenkov.
We'll have to see, Yeah. Don't forget the SoCal Classic.
SoCal Classic. Let's touch on base on that. And then there's some interest here in the King of the Table matches. We should talk about that after. But SoCal Classic, tell me about that.
Yes, Benji Mack. Yes, it was Team Florida versus Team California in super matches, along with the tournament. Hey, your countryman did pretty good, John Tarian.
He managed to get a win on the one arm, yeah.
Dallas Langston.
Yeah, right off of his appearance on Naked and Afraid, Dallas Langston.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive, And I think, here's the thing. I saw something with California, and I think that's going to start showing here in the States over here, is when California, I think it was last month, and they had North versus South, okay? And we know the state of California is more length than it is width. So they cut that thing in half and go, okay, you got Northern California versus Southern California and a bunch of super matches. And I think there was some kind of cup involved or whatever. That was cool. I like that. I like that format. And then shortly after that, which this past weekend, you had 10, 12 Florida guys go over to California to take part in tournament and super matches too. And I guess now John Tarian's a Florida guy now, so he's a transplant. So he's part of Team Florida if he's ever in the United States. So they go over there, and I like that. I think we might see more of that kind of stuff in the near future.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm hung up on the Dallas is a strange dude comment, but I do like that team kind of thing. But we get back to that. Where did John fall in that? John Tarian.
Well, he pulled Dallas left and right, I believe.
Yeah, but he pulled for didn't he pull for like Florida or something like that?
Yeah, he's like a he's a transplant now. So anytime, and here's the thing. So he's got his Team Florida jersey on. So he's a Florida guy. When he comes to the States, he's a Florida guy. So when he came to the Monster Factory, and he pulled Steven Logsdon, all the Florida guys was in his corner. Carl, Artem, Austin was, Austin Wade was in his corner. So they were all in his corner, So, I mean, he's a Florida guy. So Does that make me a Canadian transplant? If I go to Canada, what province do I belong to?
Manitoba.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, we had years ago at the World Championships, they used to basically not check identification for where guys wanted to arm wrestle, and some of the Russians were actually hiring out their services to pull for these other countries, and they had to actually make it a passport issue. You had to show your passport at weigh-ins.
It got that serious?
It got that serious because some of the Russian guys were pulling for other countries, and they basically were wearing a black T-shirt with like chalk writing on it that said the name of the country.
What?
And they would just go to the highest bidder, and they would literally pull for other countries and get paid to do it.
Damn. I like Willie's comment. We gained Uncle John and lost John Terry. That's funny. Because originally Uncle John is from Minnesota, and then he relocated. So
Yep.
That's funny.
Well, you want to touch on King of the Table?
Yeah. So far, 3 matches, right? I knew one of them was going to happen at some point.
So Morozov versus Corey was an obvious one, I think.
Which is the last one to get advertised. That's funny, but be that as it may.
I don't know if I can make a pick on this yet, and
aren't we still a month away from it though?
It's way a month away. Like, we'll be talking about this again, but
okay.
Morozov is scary, man.
Did he like bleach his hair blonde now?
Yeah, he looked different, and then
I saw him. I was like, "Good dude, why are you frosting your hair? Like, what is going on over there?" I noticed that in the press conference at the East vs. West, and I'm like going, I'm like, did he fucking dye his hair and shit? I know he took time off, but I didn't know he was going to dye his hair. I'm like, dude, what's going on over here?
Corey better be preparing better than he's ever prepared for anyone ever.
Yes.
This is his opportunity, and the only guy that's next is Levon, left-handed.
Question. Isn't the Levon Morozov match already ready to roll?
Yeah, I think it is. But
isn't that left hand also?
Yeah, it is. So we'll sort this out, but I mean, if you were to see, let's say, Corey versus Morozov happens. Let's say Corey wins, and then Morozov goes on and let's say he beats Levon. Would you automatically put Corey at the top of the food chain?
I got to be careful when I say that, because I had this kind of conversation with Corey directly a few years back when all that melee, when Derek Smith beat Tim Bresman and leapfrogged everybody, and they're like, what the fuck? Hold on. I remember it's the same kind of scenario, but the rules state if you beat the number one guy, it's what Ric Flair's been saying his whole life. To be the man, you got to beat the man. So if you beat Levon, why would you not be considered the guy?
Right. But what I'm saying is, if Corey beats Morozov and then Morozov beats Levon, would Corey jump ahead without actually beating Levon?
Ooh. A beats B beats C, but C can beat A. Well, which match comes first?
Well, King of the Table's in June.
Right.
So it has to be first.
Because I thought Levon, and I don't want to get into this contract thing. I've never seen Levon actually pull at the East vs. West.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I've never seen him pull at it. I don't know if it's a contract thing or what. I mean, is he the face of he's the face of arm wrestling, but is he the face of that promotion? Because I've never seen him, aside from doing, presenting helmets and shields or sitting at a press conference next to Neil. I've never seen Levon take any kind of, competition at East First West. He's been in Gennadi's corner. He's been in Iraqi's corner. He's been in Bacho's corner. I think he might have been in Zurab's corner in one of the matches he's had. So he's there, but he's never competed. And I always thought that was kind of head scratcher. Or was it just me?
No, I agree with you. I would say it would have to happen. Or we're waiting quite a while. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, and what happens if the Levon, if Corey West does beat Morozov? There was brought up in the chat, maybe they delete Morozov out of that match and move Corey West in.
Yeah, that's hard when you got a match down the road and all of a sudden you got one coming up and you lose that one. It kind of takes some of the steam away, don't you think?
It can, yeah, it sure can.
Because we've been waiting since 2022 for Jerry and Hermes. Been waiting for that shit. And here we are in May. We still haven't had it yet because one was injured and the other one was ready. And then later on, it flip-flopped. So, I
think the longer it goes on, the more chance Hermes has of winning that match.
You think so?
Yeah. But you're right. It's a scenario that's been.
And I think that's slated for East First West 8, I believe.
Yeah.
But then again, here's Jerry, never pull king of the table. So it's almost like you got these two guys where, hey, it's WCW and WWF all over again. Flair and Hogan, or you want to throw in Nick Bockwinkel, AWA, fine. But you got, hey, Jerry, East First West guy. Hey, Levon, king of the table guy. At some point, they got to meet, right? They see who's the top guy. What promotion will reign supreme? Devin's pulled them both.
All right, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
We still talk about Devin Laird being a left-handed superstar. Where has he been in this scenario? I think he's pulled one match in 5 years?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on what you got to be careful because.
So Levon was as dominant a champion left as he was right way back in the day. He hasn't been active with that arm, but given what Levon's willing to do to prepare, you'd have to assume that his left would be on a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a break off.
Benji, not planning on going, but you never know.
Jay Clay and Devin's a silver medal 110 guy, level puller on the left. Yeah, in hindsight, but he's never, when was the last time Devin went to Worlds? Was that in Tokyo?
Yeah, I believe it was. He got bronze, actually. He was.
He took third to Brzezinski and Ron Bath, did he not?
Yeah, he did. He did.
So, and I'm not dogging a guy, but it's like, he just decided to go a different route, where back in those days, to be the guy in the world, that's the route you took. It was like, hey, I'm going to go this route, and win my walk because, there was only one world then, and it was the thing to do because everybody, and their next door neighbor attended. And if you walked out there with a world championship, it meant something, and just like, and I don't want to sway off this, but even those guys that won those Petaluma wrist wrestling championships, you were the guy, So all the Alan Fishers and Eric Waffels of the guy, hey, you done it. Now we all know it's not what it used to be now. So now it's like, okay, I got to be in this organization and be the man to be considered the best in the world. Maybe not a world champion, but the best in the world. I don't know. So only you can speak on that because you have multiple WAF World Championships. So,
how about we have what are the other ones? Devin versus Dave Chafee.
I made a comment on Ozzy's channel yesterday, I believe, yesterday or Saturday, and I wasn't down in it. I was just like, out of the 3 matches, that's not the first thing I look at. That's not the first thing I go to. I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have it for me. Yeah, I think Ozzy said how many times have you watched the same movie X amount of times? They're like, yeah, we've all done that. But again, I don't know, because that WAL match between those guys left a bad taste in my mouth, right? So,
well, I mean, the good part is it's under strict rules,
right?
Which could make all the difference in the world. However, Devin is also a lot stronger than that WAL match.
They're both guys are very different now.
Yeah.
I don't think Dave had and I don't know, I'm just guessing. Did he have that neck injury then? It seemed like it's gotten more worse now. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
But I'm more intrigued with the Morozov Corey West match. Hell, I'm more intrigued with the Ingen Thursday and Coach Ray match, because Ingen's crossing. He's crossing organizations.
That one's pretty intriguing because Coach Ray's the bigger of the two guys. Both of them are heavily into coaching and are a couple of the best minds in the sport. Ingen's pedigree is like light years beyond Coach Ray's. It's not even close.
Yeah. I believe both guys are coming off a loss of their last match. You know, like Coach Ray was riding high in 2022. Turned the calendar year, he ran into a couple buzzsaws, you know, so I know he wants this in the worst way, you know.
Well, it's good to see them both back again, and the match is actually pretty intriguing. I'm not sure who I would. Well, I mean, I would always go with Ingen just because I have to assume that he's the kind of guy. Well, and then Ray's the same way. He can make adjustments too. Like we've seen him come back from a 2-0 deficit
plenty of times.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, Ray had that. What streak was that he had? He had like some kind of super match streak, and I was like, damn, this guy just doesn't lose. And I thought he was the puller of the year, in my opinion, because he went to every single organization and dominated. He went to East First West, dominated. He went to King of the Table, dominated. He went to Arm Wars, dominated. I'm sorry, in my opinion, that was a guy that was a puller of the year in my book. You know, and that was 2022. And now he's taken his two matches and lost them both, I believe. He lost to Doug Erlech and he lost to somebody else. I want to say he lost to somebody else. Can't remember who it was, but man, oh man.
Let me ask you something. Is the best what do you think the best format is for a super match? Because this came up again, and Bob Brown said it years ago. Yeah. Who is the better arm wrestler? The guy that can win a match against someone, say in a tournament, one match, or even two? Or is it the guy that can win the super match, say, 4 matches out of 7? If it's a late rounds comeback. Now, is it the fact that you think people can make adjustments, or is it just a battle of endurance at that point?
Well, here's the thing, because that's a very, very good question.
Because there's another angle too before you answer the question.
Okay.
If you look at Ryan Bowen or Cobra. Now, I know Bowen doesn't get a lot of respect in some of these chats, but I will give him some credit because I watched him make his opponent exert energy in a certain way that impacted the later rounds, even though it cost him the first couple.
Right. That's strategy, though.
So that goes back to the question is, who is the better arm wrestler in the long, or is it the guy that can win the first couple, or is it the guy that can hang in there over a longer period? And what is the ideal number of matches that should be in a super match?
We've had different ones over the years, Ryan. I mean, you remember the old UAL ones? It was best of 3.
Yeah.
Because back then it was
we all know, like if it was best of 3 right now, we would see completely different guys on top.
Right. You know, it's almost like that's a style now. I'm going to bleed my opponent. I'll sacrifice match 1, maybe match 2. That's if you're 6 rounds. If you're doing best of 5, you're not going to see that because it shrinks everything, right? If it's best of 3, you're going to just even shrinks even more. And now you're going to go with your ace moves. You know what I mean? So It all depends because to me, there's no definite answer. And I know where Bob's getting at, and that's just an awesome question, but it depends because you are a different puller best of 5 than when you are at 6 rounds. You just are. You could sacrifice a little bit more in 6 rounds than you wouldn't do in best of 5. You know what I mean?
Now, I kind of agree with what Crunchy Cracker 73 said. First couple, best 2 of 3. If this was East versus West, Dave would be ranked a lot higher. Now, that being said, from a promoter standpoint, do you build a promotion around best of 3 super matches? You're basically paying a guy to come over there and arm wrestle 3 times maximum.
That's then you might as well just pull a tournament, because basically, from what I remember, I had this conversation with Tom Nelson a long time ago, and he's like, because I asked him, I was like, going, why does UAL do best of 3? He goes, well, in a tournament, you lose twice, you're done anyway, right? He goes, yeah. He goes, and kind of did that to me. And I thought about it going, oh, yeah, you're right. You know, his thing back when UAL was flying high with Robert Drink and everything, his thing was like, I beat you twice. What do I still have to prove? So from that theory, when I had that conversation with him, it made sense. If me and Ryan Espey had a super match right now, UAL with all the glitz and glamour, all that kind of stuff, and it was best of 3, and Ryan's up, or let's just say it's best of 5, and Ryan's up 2-0, Ryan's probably thinking, I beat you twice. What is there else to prove? I get that. Because then if you think about it, as UAL starting got bigger, then they went to best of 5. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think when he started having title belts, that's when it went to best of 5. Because then it was like, hey, somebody help me out. UAL 9, where was that? Was that the last Mike Gould Classic?
Yeah, it was.
And I believe there were title matches, and they were all best of 5, were they not?
Don't recall the format.
It was, I can tell you that. It was Matt Mass pulling John Brzenk for the title, and depending on what side of the table you're on, it went the full distance. You know? Also, it was RVJ versus Alan Ford. Same situation.
Yeah.
It was Crazy George versus Sam Harris, right? The only time that it wasn't a best of 5 when it was a non-title match. Case in point, Mike Gould, Richard Blepke's best of 3. So, you know, like I said, I might be getting off. I probably didn't answer your question. Sorry about that, you guys. But, you know, that's how it was. You know, like, best of, man, if I beat you twice, why do I have to beat you again? I get it. I get it.
Well, I'll tell you, my preference is best of 5.
Mm-hmm.
The 6 rounders with a silver bullet. Remember when they used to do the 6 rounders in PAL and there was no silver bullet? If it was a tie, it was a tie. That made no sense to me at all. Like, it was just have another match. Just have one more.
Well, hell, back in the early Arm Wars days, they didn't film the silver bullet.
Yeah.
Ryan, you were there for one.
Yeah, I know.
2010, Sin City. Go look at the Arm Wars archives. Sin City. Matter of fact, look at this match. Devin Larratt, Travis Bagent. If you watch the actual video, they stopped at 3-3. But there was a silver bullet. That never got filmed. Devin won, but it never got filmed. So back then, it was like, okay, we thought, oh, well, crap, it ends at 3-3. Now what? Because then you walk away with so many question marks. You did all that, and all of a sudden it's like you just didn't, you know, like, what the hell?
Yeah. The best of 5, I appreciate the best of 5. I think it works the best for Engen's promotion as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it.
And Jay Clean, he says, why wouldn't you film the 7th? That was then. This is now. He does it now. He does it now. Neil does it now. And like I said, I mean, as you get, you know, further along in the sport, you realize, okay, that didn't work. This will work. let's keep going. I'm sure it'll get better. But yeah, I mean, I like the best of 5. 6 rounds is cool though, because then you get to find out, can I hang with these guys? Do I get to, use every tool I got in my shed? That kind of stuff. That's just me though. But I guess if you go best of 5, does it cut down the time? Because not really, because in its entirety, we're talking 40-minute matches.
Yeah. Well, my friend, we've been on here a while. We should probably wrap her up for the day.
When was the last time we went over an hour?
We're always like right on the money for the hour, but
Right.
we're a little over today.
Bonus 5 minutes. Bonus 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right on, buddy. Let's what's happening this weekend?
I don't know. I have to go look, see what's going on. I know we got some good stuff coming up pretty soon. We got Arizona State. That's July though. I know we got the Kenny Hughes Memorial Tournament coming up. Provincials coming up. So we got a lot of stuff coming. East versus West coming up. So we got some stuff coming up. As far as this weekend, I don't know. I'll keep my ear to the ground, but something always happens like midweek and it bleeds into the weekend. And then we have something to talk about.
Yeah, there's going to be some more matches. Wow. You know what? King of the Table? That might be the only 3 matches.
You know what? Yes, that's that format they had last time.
Yeah.
3 matches. And I think that's pretty good because you don't want to take the entire day and just go, okay. But the 3 good matches, like great matches, like it has some bite to it,
Maybe there'll be a leak about the dark card that we can talk about.
No, they're going to film it. If you're a Arm Wars member, not subscriber, but a member, I think that comes out this weekend.
All right, man. We'll have something. Well, we can be dancing around it a little bit. But
because we know the 4 people that were involved now. So
yeah.
And I think Devin actually leaked out some and he took it down. I think he leaked out some highlights of the matches. He had to take it down. So there's that. So if you caught on to that before he took it down, bonus for you.
Jody, hang around this 2 seconds after I stop the recording because I want to hear about it. But it's not for public consumption. Have a great week, everybody.